Ms. Bhutto's arrest came after she led 7,000 of her supporters through the streets of Karachi. The government of Prime Minister Junejo had banned all political rallies, but Ms. Bhutto and other opposition figures intended to defy the order and hold a meeting on Pakistan's Independence Day to campaign for free elections. The protesters were met by police with batons and tear gas. The procession came to a halt. Ms. Bhutto rallied the crowd around her to begin her speech. But as the police moved in, she decided to make a run for it. Her aides rushed her away in a car. The authorities arrested her later. They say she'll be kept in detention for 30 days. Earlier, Ms. Bhutto spoke about the opposition party's determination to hold today's meeting.
Independence Day rallies are always held. Last year they were held and there was no law and order situation. So there should be no law and order situation this year. And secondly, under which law are you banning them? Because you can't just arbitrarily or whimsically or on your individual self decide to ban it. For instance, in England, the leader of the opposition can't just turn around and say that I'm banning a rally, or the leader of the government can't turn around. They have to cite a law, a statute, and there are no provisions for banning this. So the combined opposition said that we are holding it because it's our fundamental right to observe Independence Day. If you are concerned about law and order, we will be happy to maintain the peace. All our rallies so far have been peaceful, so leave it to us. It will be peaceful.
But the government refused to lift the ban, and the People's Party refused to cancel their rallies. Karachi wasn't the only city which erupted in violence. In Lahore, too, the police were out in force, and when Ms. Bhutto's supporters held a march and crowds stormed a barricade, 4 people were shot dead and many injured.
The Zia Junejo government has turned the Independence Day celebrations of Pakistan into a funeral. They have abandoned the political battle and now they've fallen back to state repression. 3 people have been confirmed dead and possibly more. Dozens have been injured, they've been shot, vehicles have been burnt, and thousands have been arrested. They've turned Lahore into a battleground.
What has been the reaction to the news that Ms. Bhutto has been arrested in Karachi?
If she is not released, we'll then organize agitational protests to demand her release.
Aren't you worried there could be further killings as a result?
Well, that's not our responsibility. If they want to shoot at us, that's their job. We are not violent.
Ever since her return in April, Ms. Bhutto had lived with the possibility of arrest. After 9 years of military rule under General Zia, Pakistan now has a civilian government. But Ms. Bhutto, with her massive rallies, had tested the country's new democracy to the limit.
One of her strategic assumptions has been that if she was arrested, that the party would then organize a massive street agitation which would demand her release and also hopefully topple the government. However, the wide-scale arrests that have taken place does mean that the People's Party has suffered very seriously in organizationally. And how effective the People's Party will now be in being able to launch nationwide street agitation still has to be seen.
Prime Minister Junejo attended the official, more peaceful Independence Day celebrations. He insists he's committed to democracy, despite the sweeping arrests of the last 48 hours. The military have been keeping a low profile, so has President Zia, but there are fears that the army could take over.
Prime Minister Junejo has constantly got to look over his shoulder at the army and to see what the generals are planning. Pakistan is a democracy, and clearly he would like to see the release of BENAZIR Bhutto and these politicians as soon as possible, so as to prevent a long-term confrontation. Any long-term confrontation would benefit the army because it would clearly come back and reimpose martial law.
It makes us all more determined. Not only more determined, but with each step forward we feel more encouraged, because they are weakening, they are crumbling. They are the ones who have suffered all the setbacks. It's their nerve which has cracked and ours won't.
Ms. Bhutto's supporters say they intend to agitate for her release. Tonight, the police are out in force on the streets of Karachi and Lahore. The army remains in barracks. But Prime Minister Junejo is under pressure to solve the crisis quickly if he's to maintain democracy in Pakistan.